Sports is coming at you like we never left, and I'm Jason Salas, your sports guy, joined in the KWIM's news Zoom room by someone we have the ultimate respect for, my good buddy Desiree Macugay, who is the founder of the Fortress. And man, that is a aptly named organization because second only to this amazing event where it had 22 female fitness athletes compete in Fearless. And is there anything more fitting? So, Des, first of all, Hafaday, and that was an amazing event. I can't wait to hear all about it.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me and just allowing me the opportunity to, put these all these women in the spotlight.
Mm-hmm. Now, of course, like March is now, behind us in the history books, and that was, on paper International Women's Month, but we celebrate female athletes and we celebrate women all the time, like on this show and everything like that. And I've always been a major fan of women's sport, especially the ground that you've broken, like getting women more into not just into, building a community about fitness athletes, but getting them to compete at the highest level too.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, it's Fearless was to celebrate or is to celebrate Women's History Month, but like you said, any opportunity, I think most of the community knows this by now, that any opportunity there is to, just put women in the spotlight and celebrate them, I'm all over it.
Mm. So tell me about some of the about the caliber of the 22 women that competed, and what are how diverse is their background and their age ranges and everything like that. What were you dealing with?
Gosh, we had some people, some women who competed in the first and the second Fearless, who are pretty seasoned lifters. We had some women join this year for the very first time, who just started in fitness, just started their journeys. I'm not sure the exact ages, but I know the range was about early 20s to late 50s.
Nice.
So pretty, yeah, really wide range of women, all different careers. Most of them are moms. Some of them are, young, still in school or, part-time jobs. So, like I said, lifestyles and backgrounds all over the place. Ages was a huge, wide range.
Hmm.
So, from the beginner lifter to the most seasoned athletes,
Hmm.
made up, but the crew.
Now, Des, I know you well enough to know that you weren't just, kind of like sitting back observing your handiwork. I'm sure, you put on like, you did like 5 miles just walking around the gym, making sure that like all the I's were dotted and the T's were crossed and everything. But at the same time, you were making sure to cheer on these athletes and make sure that everything was going, by the book.
Oh yeah, I thrive off of these events. These, they're it's a lot of work going into it and planning something like this, but I love it. Just the, leading up to the event, knowing that these women are going to have a great time. I get excited about that. And day of, yeah, I'm running around, I'm cheering. As a matter of fact, I was on the mic, just kind of emceeing the event, and I had to remind myself. Actually, my husband had to remind me that I was on the mic because I was, I was cheering, I was holding my daughter, I was trying to MC. There was just so much going on, but lots of excitement, and it was fun to host.
So we all know you as like as like a Queen Supreme when it comes to like high level fitness on Guam, but a little bit of fangirl that came out a little bit.
Oh yeah, no, I'm a huge fangirl. As a matter of fact, someone was uh, talking to me about competing, and I still, of course, have that competitiveness in me. But the lately, I've really been enjoying just kind of sitting back and watching other women, just put themselves to the test and compete, and yeah, it's been nice just being a fan.
Very cool. Okay, so let's talk about caliber. Like, were any records broken, or were any did anyone like really stand out, and like even for the return athletes?
Well, they all stood out. There were, like I said, there were some new faces, and I didn't know what to expect from them. But to be more specific, there was this duo. I want to say one was maybe in her late 20s, and then the other one was maybe in her late 40s, maybe early 50s. I'm not sure, but there was a huge age gap, between the two. And I want to say they were both teachers. And I was really surprised, I don't know how long they've been lifting, but I know it was the first time, at least for one of them, to compete in something like this,
Mhm.
in um yeah, any fitness competition. And they killed it. They competed in the fun division and they took second place. And I was blown away. But of course, there were some teams that signed up that everyone just kind of expected they were gonna be the ones to beat. So and the group that I'm talking about took first in both the fun division and the advanced division. So that was at no surprise.
So
But really,
even though it was very collegial and obviously all the teams like cheered each other and supported each other as Guamanian athletes do, it was still really really high level competition and people were there to win too.
oh yeah, oh yeah,
I would
absolutely.
expect nothing less for an event that was championed and created by you, if I may say so.
Oh, thank you.
Huh.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's talk about the actual events themselves. Like kind of like high level, and like obviously there are different like weight classes and degrees of intensity. But what were generally the events they were competing in?
So there were four events, and each one was very different, but there were two events that were focused more on, I would say, endurance and conditioning. And then there was one event, the main lift was a deadlift, and that was more of our strength event. And there was our fourth event is what we call a floater event. The time cap was like 2 minutes. So it's one of those events that just go by really quickly.
Hmm.
That was a dummy drag, and it was a 150-pound dummy. So that was a
Ooh.
fun one to watch. Yeah.
I've I've done that with when the firefighters like all get together and they have their muster competition. That is not easy. That the
It's
150
not
pounds
easy.
of dead weight is really really challenging.
It's not easy. And the shape of the dummy too, right? It's very awkward. So, you need the strength, but you also kind of need a little bit of technique to to do it. So
That's a
that
good
was
point
really
because
that was
the
fun.
weight isn't evenly distributed like it would be maybe like on a hollow block or something like that. You've got like the
Right.
torso and then you've got the appendages and whatever. So
Right. Right.
okay, what was the feedback that the competitors and and the spectators for that matter gave you about the event overall?
Um, I actually just earlier today I was like, I really need to reach out to everyone individually and get more feedback. But the feedback that I got so far was all great feedback. Everyone had a great time. The ones who were kind of hesitating to even join because they didn't feel they were at that level to compete. We're so thrilled that they went ahead and just kind of pushed themselves and joined. So they had a good time. They said the events were a lot of fun. This time we had it at a slightly bigger venue, and they were very happy about that. They liked the new venue, so they can't wait for next year. They want to see this event grow over time.
Okay, so you start training right now for the next Fearless event because we want to make sure that we cover you. So where can people get in touch with the Fortress, find you guys on like social media if they want to find out more?
We are on both Facebook and on Instagram. So on Instagram, it's the Fortress Guam, and on Facebook, it's also the same thing, the Fortress Guam. So you can find
There you
us
go.
on both. On both,
There you go.
yeah.
Keeping it uniform, keeping it the same way, and very very fitting too because your commitment to fitness and developing not only physically tough athletes but also like mentally and confidence wise that hasn't changed since I met you eons ago and everything like that, and I'm really really happy for your success. All of us here at KUM, like we all fanboy and fangirl over what you've been able to do with fitness, so thank you very much, Des.
Oh God. Thank you so much. And yeah, I mean, I just kind of want to touch up more on what you just said. It's about pushing yourself physically, but really, if you know me and you've been following me over the years, you know that a big part of what I do is really just trying to get you mentally stronger,
Mhm.
trying to push yourself out of your comfort zone and, like get rid of those limitations that you put on yourself. That's kind of one of the biggest messages that I always try to put out there in the community.
Yeah, you told me before the pandemic started, you said, I can, as a fitness trainer, I can train anybody to lift almost any any amount of weight, but when you actually have belief in self and confidence in yourself and everything like that, that's the ultimate goal.
Yep. And that hasn't changed. I'm still that same person. I still have that same mindset, because there are so many talented, skilled, educated trainers out there who can teach you how to do a squat properly, how to deadlift properly. But being able to instill confidence in someone, getting them to do something that they never thought they could, getting them to just feel comfortable in their skin, that's an entirely different animal, and
Right.
that's what's fulfilling.
And by that merit, you have already made amazing contributions to the Guam sports community, which we eternally appreciate. So Desiree Macugay over at the Fortress, doing great things with women athletics, fearless in the truest sense of the word. Des, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jason.